Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging hour discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Joe Cucchiara, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate. He also offers real estate tax management strategies, new construction advice, home improvement tips, and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host and Real Estate Radio Live team leader, Joe Cucchiara.
Good afternoon. Welcome in. Joe Cucchiara with Real Estate Radio Live. Thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon. We have a great show in store for you. Just a reminder, you can listen to us and tune in a couple different ways. One is on your radio at KDOW 1220 AM. You could also listen to us live online during the time of 3 to 4 Pacific Daylight Time. You can listen to us at kdow.biz. Again, that's kdow.biz. That is the website. You can listen to us live. However, we'd love to have you download the podcast, get the app. That way you could listen to the show anytime you want at your convenience. And if you go to reradiolive.com, that's the website, reradiolive.com, you could download the app there. You can go to iTunes, Stitcher, any of those places to download the app, and that way you can listen to the podcast anytime, anywhere, at your convenience. We're a live show. We love your calls and questions. If you have any calls from my guests today, there's two different ways to communicate. One is a toll-free number, 1-800-516-1220, or you could text your questions in to 408-838-9060. Well, I've been waiting for this show for a while, and it's an important one about real estate. Most of the time we think about real estate, we think about what's the market doing, what's the interest rates doing, is it a good time to buy, is it a good time to sell? But this is equally as important, and we have two ladies here from the San Jose Police Department, both from the crime prevention part area of the San Jose Police Department, Esther, Mota, and also Sonia, Azevedo. Welcome in, ladies.
Thank you.
Good to have you guys here. Let's get started, if you can. If each of you could give the listeners a little bit about each of your backgrounds and then your current roles and responsibilities with the police department, specifically to the prevention area.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start first. Again, thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome.
My name is Esther Mota, and I work for the San Jose Police Department within the Crime Prevention Unit.
Okay.
I've been with the city of San Jose for about 20 years, and it's been always in the role of providing prevention and intervention services to the community. Mm-hmm. And so I recently became the crime prevention supervisor about a little over a year ago, and I love it. It's a great opportunity to actually, again, educate the community, mm-hmm. work with the community. And as far as my roles and responsibilities, I supervise about 10 staff, crime prevention specialists. They service the entire city, and they are very resourceful, very knowledgeable, and we'll talk a little bit more about the type of topics that they provide to the community.
Very good. Thank you. Welcome.
And I am Sonia Azevedo. I am a crime prevention specialist assigned to what's called the Southern Division mm-hmm. of the San Jose Police Department. Hello all of you Southern Division people.
There you go.
I have been with the police department for 17 years, and throughout all those years, it's been either dealing with kids or adults. We deal with every type of person out there, from children to seniors, to educate the public, to provide referrals for resources, to just anything that the public needs as a information for public safety.
Very good. Thank you. Well, welcome both of you guys, and thank you for being here. And the topic today is tips on how you can deter and prevent crime in your neighborhood. But before we get started, too, I think what I'd like to say is, thank you for both of you for your service. And for everybody in the San Jose Police Department, for that matter, all the police officers in the entire Bay Area, because in light of all these different crazy things that are going on politically and socially and along the Bay Area, and we could go on and on about all these things, mm-hmm. but, the men and women that put the uniforms on every day and are out protecting us in our neighborhoods and everything we do, I want to throw a thank you out to everybody for that, because I think sometimes we take we take that for granted. We leave our house, we come back to our homes, we go to our businesses, And for the most part, we hope that everything goes well and we don't have problems. But when we do have problems, that's what we have the police force here. So I think that's what I would like to get out. And we're going to talk about a wonderful subject today, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. And thank you both and everybody else out there that serves our communities, because it's a big deal and we appreciate it very much. So the topic today, again, is tips on how to deter and prevent crime in our neighborhood. And most of us, again, this is a real estate-related show, and it's a great topic because how do we partner with, in this case, the prevention the unit, people in general, citizens, communities, because we talked a little bit before we started. This should be a team effort. This should be something where we all pitch in and help each other, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we are definitely looking to partner with the community. It's very vital, especially in light of, any crime trends that are going on, and just the ability to, communicate with the residents, give them some tips, and be able to really encourage them to get to know their neighbors. Mm-hmm.
Very good. Can you give us an overview a little bit of the services in general? I think when people hear crime prevention, that, okay, this is great. How does it work? How does the department work? What does it cover? And maybe just an overview of the unit.
Sure. Okay. Yes. As I mentioned, I have 10 crime prevention specialists that actually work for us throughout the city of San Jose. When I really look at crime prevention, when we actually look at crime prevention, we look at it as we mentioned right now, as a partnership. Mm-hmm. We know that the residents out there are looking at how do they link, how do we bridge our department with the residents. And so that's very vital for our staff actually to be that point of contact with the community. So that is a role that they definitely play as they get to go out there. As Sonia mentioned, she services the Southern Division again. And so it's a way to build those relationships. So that way in the future, as residents meet our crime prevention specialists, they know who to call, where to call to ask those specific questions. So that's definitely a big role. The other role that we play is as we meet people, we have a lot of different questions that may come up in regards to how do I report a crime? Just simple questions like that. Or where can I get a report? Or how do I get a hold of a certain unit? And so again, we can help bridge them with that. They can get a hold of us. We can actually give them referrals, and we can give them some contacts. The other big part of it too is actually them providing crime prevention awareness on different topics. So sorry about that. And so again, like Sonia was mentioning, it can range from all the way from youth within our department. I look at it that we have two different focuses. We have one area that is youth, and so we provide some really good topics to students, to administrators and to parents. And it can be from all the way from bullying, from cyberbullying, internet safety. We also do even personal safety topics with them. We also do drug and alcohol and gangs. And so, again, that's with the youth component. With the community component, which is really big, what we're going to be talking a little bit more about today, is our neighborhood watch. How to engage in that. What does that look like? And what do we share? So we'll be able to share some of that with everybody today. And I also think, too, unfortunately, a lot of people, especially seniors, there's identity theft, there's some fraud. And so for us, that's really our bread and butter. It's about educating the public and at the same time, too, bridging them to our department as needed. Yeah.
Esther and Sonia both, the resources, when we talk about this stuff, this takes resources. Takes people. We all know the struggles the department's had the last 5 or 6 years because of the cuts and all the challenges. So, candidly, how are you guys doing in terms of that? Obviously, you're probably still stretched for resources. Is that a sign that it's getting any better anytime in the near future, or how's that look for you guys?
Well, we are definitely hopeful.
Yeah.
I know our chief is always very optimistic, right, about the future for the department. Right. As you mentioned, our officers, they work very hard,
yes,
and
do.
especially for the ones that are currently, working with our department right now. I think we've been very fortunate that when we do go out to the community, we hear the same thing. We get a lot of very positive thank you, and so.
That's good to hear.
But we are definitely optimistic, and we're just hoping, that our department will continue to grow and get officers back into our
very
department.
good. Yeah, because you guys offer a lot of services just as you described them. I mean, that's a lot to handle. How does it work on the neighborhood? Let's talk a little bit about neighborhood safety specifically. How does that set up? Do you guys are there certain neighborhood programs? Obviously, this is a partnership like you talked about. Let's, if we could talk a little bit about that.
Well, I have all the Southern Division neighborhoods, Oak Grove, Santa Teresa, out that Seven Trees, out that direction. So what I like to do is I really push the Neighborhood Watch program. And the Neighborhood Watch program can be done in 3 different languages. We have the ability with staff to do it in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese. Oh. And we've done them in all 3 languages, sometimes all 3 at the same time. And what the Neighborhood Watch program is it's a program that is not just a meeting. Mm-hmm. It's a lifestyle for a community, teaching the residents to look out for each other. Buying into your neighbor's well-being so that they buy into yours. Right. And as a community, you're looking out for each other, making the calls that you need to make, making sure that your neighbors are safe because they're doing the same for you. So the Neighborhood Watch program is a wonderful way to initiate that neighborhood sense of security. But it's also ongoing as the days go on after we leave because it's a 2-hour-long meeting. We get all the neighbors together. We do our presentation and talk about how to access 911 or 311, what's the difference between the two, suspicious activity, how to identify that, how to report what the dispatchers are looking for when people make a call to 911, what information they need. Vehicle safety, burglary prevention, what burglars are looking for and how you can prevent them from getting access to all your goodies. And then identity theft. I do talk about identity theft quite a bit in Southern Division because it is a big problem. Mail theft is a big problem, how to prevent that. So it's a really good initial meeting for the neighbors to get together. Could be done in a home, could be done in a church, could be done in a library, could be done in a community. Doesn't matter where it's done.
Great.
But, the one host neighbor gathers his or her neighbors together, one street at a time, and we go out and do the presentation.
Very good. All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, if you have any questions, it's a great time to call in, 1-800-516-1220. We're talking today about how you can deter and prevent crime in your neighborhood, 1-800-516-1220. This is Joe Cucchiara with Real Estate Radio Live. We'll be back with you in just a couple minutes.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Cucchiara.
Welcome back in. Thank you again for joining us this afternoon. Joe Cucchiara with Real Estate Radio Live. We have a great show today. In studio, our guests are Esther Mota and also Sonia Azevedo, both with the Crime Prevention Department with the San Jose Police Department. We talked a little bit about, we kicked off the show, their area's responsibility, really what it covers, what it's about. The ladies did a nice job of really laying the groundwork and the foundation for the topic today, which is tips on really ultimately we want to do. And they both talked about, how important it is to educate and inform, and I love that because that's what we do on our show, and so it's a perfect fit. In this case, it's how to deter and prevent crime in our own neighborhoods, and that's partly, in general, partnering with everyone. You talked about the neighborhood programs, and we could expand a little bit on that now. And what are some of the most important things? You said, holiday seasons are coming up, so maybe you could remind everybody out there the things that you guys see and the things to really be aware of. And then, if you can, talk a little bit about what people's main concerns are when you go out and do these neighborhood watches.
Well, over the last several years, it seems that burglary prevention for people's homes and vehicles, too, are the main things that people are concerned about. Your home is your castle, right? And you don't want anybody in there who's not invited. And yet, when somebody comes into your home that's not invited with the intention of committing a crime, stealing from you, it's hugely personal. People are hurt emotionally as well as financially. So when we do our burglary prevention through our neighborhood watch, it takes up a lot of the time in the meeting because people have lots of questions. They want to know about surveillance cameras. They want to know about alarms. They want to know about how to use their lighting and their landscaping and their locks and all these different strategies, all these different tools that you can use to keep your home look like it's occupied.
Right.
And that's really the number one strategy. Yeah. Make your home look like somebody's home and or your home is well taken care of, because burglars, generally speaking, don't want to go into an occupied home.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's very rare that we have what's called a home invasion, which is a burglary when people are home.
Yeah.
A vast majority of our burglaries are done during the daytime when people are at work.
Do the statistics also show, and do you guys get data that shows that some of these people actually stake out the home, if you will, or keep an eye on it and find out the habits of the people coming and going, or do some of them are they random, or is it across the board with that type of activity?
I believe that it's more across the board, though there are people who do scout out neighborhoods. I mean, they park their car and, they see people going to work, and they see a person going to work at the same time every day, and, they know exactly what time to hit it.
So some of the things, with the holiday seasons coming up, maybe you could talk a little bit about some of the additional awareness, if you will. You talked about the, what's it called, the port pirate? Is that what?
There's a term now. It's how pathetic has our society become that we now have a term for this. Porch pirates.
Porch pirates.
That's the people who drive around the community looking for UPS drivers and FedEx drivers to drop off packages, boxes of purchases that people have made over the internet, and then they the UPS driver drops it on your porch even though you tell them not to, or the FedEx person, and people are driving around the neighborhood and picking it up just as fast as they're dropping them off.
Yeah, that's crazy. So that is something to be aware of. What are the when you go on these the neighborhood programs as well? First of all, is this something on a regular basis? Is something you try to get out once or twice a year, or how does it work in terms of consistency and re-educating?
So we do recommend that a neighborhood, like I said before, we do neighborhood watch meetings one street at a time.
Okay.
Because the whole philosophy of neighborhood watch is for neighbors to watch out for each other.
Good point.
And so if you're living, 2 blocks away from one of your neighbors, you cannot be physically there to watch out for them. But the neighbors across the street from you, the neighbor next door to you. So we have a minimum of requirement of 10 households to attend a meeting. Those would be your immediate neighbors. And my kickoff to my meeting every week is that the best crime prevention strategy we can teach you is for you to get to know your neighbors. Because when your neighbors know you and you know your neighbors, there's much more of a buy-in to protecting each other. As opposed to a neighbor that you have never met, don't know their name, you've seen their car in their driveway, you don't know anything about them, and the day that you see some guy hopping their fence, you're like, oh, well.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I like that. We got to take a break here as well. But the other part that's come up in the last couple of years is these with technology. They have neighborhood, like Willow Glen and different areas. I know they're familiar with. So people actually communicate that way, too. If they see someone suspicious, that's been a really, really nice addition to the neighborhood watch. I guess we could call it electronically or
using technology.
Using technology. All right, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue the topic of the tips, how you could deter and prevent crime in your neighborhood. If you have any questions, 1-800-516-1220. This is Joe Cucchiara. We'll be back with you in just a couple minutes.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Cucchiara.
Welcome back in. Thank you again for joining us this afternoon. Joe Cucchiara with Real Estate Radio Live. We have in studio for the entire hour, just a couple segments left here. Esther, Mota, and also Sonia, Azevedo, both with the Crime Prevention Department at San Jose Police Department, kind enough to spend some time in their busy schedules for sure to educate our listeners. We realize this show is broadcast all over the entire greater Bay Area, but San Jose is a good model for what they've been doing with these neighborhood watch programs. They're kind enough to talk about that. We'll come back, elaborate again a little, if you guys will, about the porch pirates. I know that's really a big issue, especially around the holidays. And then maybe if you could enlighten us a little bit more on what people should be aware of their mail, how to safeguard that. There's so many little things that I think, again, we all take for granted every single day when we come and go, we leave our house, we come back to our house. We just think everything's going to be fine, but these are things that we all need to know.
They're simple things to me. I mean, it's really just not on people's consciousness every day. So with the porch pirating, if you are one of those people that shops online, make sure that you talk to your neighbors. When they see the UPS truck, ask them, if you're going to be at work, ask them to come pick it up for you when they see the UPS truck or the FedEx truck or whichever truck. You can also contact UPS and FedEx and have a text sent to you when the truck makes the delivery. Okay. You can request that the delivery not be made unless there's someone there to sign for it. You can have a delivery sent to your work instead of to your home where there's somebody going to be there. There's lots of different suggestions, lots of different tools, strategies you can do to be more proactive. With the mail theft, unfortunately, the greatest entrance to identity theft is through mail theft. It's not through hacking your computer. It's through stealing your mail. And you'd have complete control over your mailbox if you have a locking mailbox. Now, granted, yes, a person could break into a mailbox, but generally speaking, like I said before, burglars don't want to go through the trouble. They're going to go to the mailboxes that are unlocked and that are easy to gain access to. So if you prevent the access, then you've taken away that ability that person has. And it takes generally three things to commit a crime. It has to have somebody who has the ability to commit the crime, somebody who has the intent to commit the crime, and the opportunity to commit the crime. And if you take away that opportunity from them, that's half the battle. Yeah,
I like that. And I think that's a great message. What you just described as I'm listening, if we all do the best we can, right, at taking away those opportunities, whether it's the lighting, the video cameras, the contacting of our neighbors, the text, whatever we can do is going to deter some of these people because they are truly, it sounds like what you're saying, is looking for the easiest hit, so to speak.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you got to understand that some of these people are out there doing these burglaries, whether it's residential or car break-ins or mail theft or what, they're doing several in a day. It's not like they're going to do one burglary of one house and be done with it. They're going to do 2 or 3 in a day, and they'll do 2 or 3 tomorrow, and they'll steal mail from a whole street.
Yeah.
not just your house. So keeping your eyes and ears open when you're home. If you're a stay-at-home during the daytime person, you are the most precious person on the street. You're the Mrs. Kravitz of your neighborhood, and we need you. We need you.
Good point. We're going to take a break here in a minute or so, but as I'm thinking about this and you're going through it, communication through the neighborhoods, that was a great advice. Get to know your neighbors, but also just everything you could do with I guess the one thing I wanted to bring up is when you were talking about the typical crimes being committed, these are typically someone that's planned these things out, I'm guessing. This is not two neighborhood kids bored one day and they're leaving school early and jumping into someone's house, typically, right? These are people that are plotting this out, looking at certain neighborhoods, potentially looking for the opportunity you talked about of hitting the weaknesses.
Absolutely. In fact, about a month or so ago, our police department broke up a burglary crew ring. It was a gang. It was an organized, formal gang, and there were 40 different people in that gang, and that's what they did. They stole. That was their thing. I mean, I'm sure they were selling drugs too. I'm sure they were doing other criminal activity, but burglary was their number one go-to activity. And so, some of these groups are very, very organized.
Yeah, very good. All right, great information. We're going to take another quick break. If you have any questions about maybe your neighborhood, do you want to know more about the Neighborhood Watch? How do you get involved? Who do you contact? 1-800-516-1220. We'll be back with you to continue in just a couple minutes.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDLW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Cucchiara.
Welcome back in. Thank you again for joining us this afternoon. Joe Cucchiara with Real Estate Radio Live. We have just a couple segments left. We're joined in studio today by Esther Mota and also Sonia Azevedo, both with the Crime Prevention Department, San Jose Police Department, kind enough to spend some time in their busy days really educating and informing the consumers, just like we do in real estate. These ladies are part of a division in an area. They're constantly educating and giving consumers information about how to protect themselves, their homes, their neighborhoods. In this case, we're talking about how to deter and prevent crime in our own neighborhoods. And what better to be armed with information and education so that we could have a better chance at keeping these people away from our homes and our vehicles and our mail and all the stuff we're talking about. So obviously you guys do this in San Jose. You do a wonderful job. You have a great track record. Where, if someone's in Fremont, Milpitas, Los Gatos, Saratoga, I'm assuming there's websites, there's contact that anybody in any community could call and schedule something like this or find out more about the Neighborhood Watch programs?
Yes, that is correct. I would really encourage everyone to contact their local jurisdictions, which is, of course, their department. Many police departments do actually have at least tips on crime prevention tips. They may even have resources as far as even getting an idea about crime stats. I know within our department, we do encourage residents that we do meet that if they are interested in finding out what type of crimes are committed around or near their neighborhood, to get a hold or actually to go onto the website. And so there is a map, crime map. And so again, they can add their address and they can at least get a picture of what has been reported. And I'm sure other law enforcement the departments, they also have the ability to do that as well. But yes, we really encourage people to reach out.
All right. What are the expectations, you guys? Again, using your resources, the resources are being stretched all the time. Those are well documented. What is the realistic when someone says, well, gee, if I see something suspicious in my neighborhood or a person, or if I see something actually going on that I think is illegal or very suspicious, calling the police department, what number would you call, first of all, obviously, if you're in San Jose? And then secondly, what are the expectations for someone to show up in a relatively quick period of time, I guess that depends on the severity or what the information is given to the dispatcher. Is that how that works?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We have to, because of the staffing shortages, we've had to prioritize calls.
Sure.
And so any call that is property related, meaning your property has been burglarized, vandalized, is somewhat of a lower priority than a person crime, such as an assault or a robbery. Person crimes are much more immediate, could go south really quickly. People could get hurt, as opposed to a cold call burglary of somebody's home that happened sometime during the day.
Right.
So we respond immediately to the high priority calls of people crimes. And so with our CSOs, our community services officer positions, which are fairly new the last couple of years, they respond to the non-emergency police response calls. And so the 911 versus the 311. One of the things we do teach in the neighborhood watch is the difference. When do you call which? Which call is more appropriate to make given the circumstance. Anything that people see that is happening right now, in progress as I see it, is a 911 call.
Okay.
Doesn't really matter how big or small the crime is. So if it's in progress, it's a 911 immediately. If it's something that has already occurred and or is just suspicious, unusual activity in the neighborhood, that's a 311 call. And so we do spend a great deal of time trying to educate the public on the difference between those two calls.
The use of technology, we're here in the Silicon Valley. It's talked about all the time. We have millions and millions of dollars in jobs that are focused on technology. Is there anything in the arena or area of technology that's helping you and what you ladies do for your job in the community? I know there's these, we talked a little bit about the different neighborhoods will actually create these lists where if you're in a certain neighborhood, you sign in, you log in. A lot of information is shared that way. Do you guys see that as being helpful? And there's more things out there like that people should know about?
Well, I find it very helpful. Anytime people can communicate is a good thing, especially when it comes to public safety. Unfortunately, some people take an inch and make it into a mile and create something that's not really there. But other times, any education that the public can receive about their personal safety is a good thing. So there have been neighborhoods that have organized themselves such that, one person will sign up for the 7 to 7:30 slot on Monday nights, and that's their time to go take their dog for a walk. And so they just keep their eyes out in the neighborhood on that particular day on Monday nights from 7 to 7:30. So, I mean, there's a vast variety of things people can do to organize their neighborhoods to watch out for each other.
I bet. The other thing I was thinking about, we have to take a break here in a minute or so, but small businesses. People who listen to this show are small business owners. And so far we've talked a lot about neighborhoods and our homes and our personal, our primary residence, et cetera, et cetera. But, part of the reason our communities thrive is small businesses.
Exactly.
So how do they fit in within what you guys do and the parameters with which you work?
Well, I know within our unit, I failed to mention that earlier, but we do actually have a business watch.
Oh, okay.
And so
Great.
A lot of times when we do actually, when we have businesses that are reaching out to us, again, sometimes during the holidays, they'll notice that there's more, people hanging out that aren't really looking to shop, but you might be coming into their stores or they're grabbing things and they're, and they're running. And so a lot of times they do reach out to us. What we're able to do then, of course, is, we work really closely with our captains in the area. And so a lot of times what it is, it's about really getting those businesses that belong maybe in a like in a business area and really encourage them to come together so we can, again, teach them the same tips that they can actually implement within themselves. Very
good. All right, we're going to take our last break. When we come back, we're going to finish up. If you have any questions, 1-800-516-1220. The topic is how to deter and prevent crime in your neighborhood. We'll be back to finish up in just a couple minutes.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Cucchiara.
Welcome back in. Thank you again for joining us as we wind down the show. Joe Cucchiara with Real Estate Radio Live. We're been joined in studio for the entire hour by Esther, Mota, and also Sonia, Azevedo, both with the Crime Prevention Department in the San Jose Police Department. Before we move along, we're going to finish up, but I want to encourage all of you in San Jose to vote yes and educate yourself on Measure F. Measure F has a lot to do with the resources that have been depleted in the San Jose Police Department for the last 6 years. And I know that I speak for a lot of people when we know how important it is to have those resources back. So educate yourself on Measure F and vote yes if you want to see some improvement and you want to see the resources and the manpower that, quite frankly, we all deserve. Everybody does. So be sure to do that. Just a couple minutes left, and I know you guys had a couple things I thought were really important if you could touch on for people. Again, some simple things, but could help emergency vehicles when they approach your home. What are some of the things that you guys would recommend?
Well, you'd be amazed how many people don't have their home address visible from the street. Mm-hmm. So I really encourage you to make sure that you get your address posted in the front of your house, big and bold, so that should an emergency happen and the fire truck has to find your house and he's using his GPS and the GPS tells them you have arrived at your destination, and yet they can't see any numbers listed on your house. That's a really bad thing. And also, simple tip: have your porch light on at night. You can adjust them, put them on a timer, and just keep that front porch lit up.
Very good. So, any good tips? And now, before we go to, I want to make sure, obviously different counties, different cities, different areas, but San Jose, if anybody wants more information from you guys, your department, how to reach you, neighborhood watch groups, what are the best places for them to go or to call?
Okay, perfect. Yes, for our office, they can definitely contact us at 408-277-4133, and also for our website, sanjosepd.org, and they can get as much information on there. But yes, please, I encourage all of you that are listening, if you have any questions, even if you do not live in San Jose, but you have some questions, we'll do our best to refer you to the right, contact, whatever information that you might have.
Yeah. Is it obviously this information is great, the education is great. We want to continue doing this, and we hope that you guys continue to get the resources too. Before we sign off, I want to thank both you ladies again. Before we sign off today, educate yourself on Measure F. This is extremely important. We're all going to go out and vote, I hope, here in the next week. But look at all the measures, and this one particularly is going to impact San Jose and everything around San Jose. And again, remember, it's not just our homes, it's our businesses and the people that we live with and around. So thank you, ladies, once again for being here today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
This is Joe Cucchiara with Real Estate Radio Live. Thanks for tuning in today, and every day, Monday through Friday. Be sure to do that from 3 to 4. If you have any questions, 408-838-9060. Otherwise, have a great afternoon. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Take care.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Tune in, log in, download our podcast. Discover more at RERadiolive.com. RERadiolive.com.